Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Dunks Movie Corner or Dunks Movie Corner pod or podcast, whatever you want to call it. You found it, you made it. This is it. And this is going to be a slightly different episode, folks, if you are a returning listener. If you're new, well, trust me, this is not how it normally goes. So this is a kind of a weekly quick recap of what I watched this week or last week in TV, movie, limited series, anything like that. This is very much a companion podcast to the Movie Bros, which is a much longer format conversation between myself and my brother where we pick a movie, watch that movie, and discuss it and kind of ramble and banter. So if you want something actually substantial, again, this week is going to be a little odd because I didn't watch a whole ton of things this week. I don't talk about it, but check out the Movie Bros. That is posted at least once a week. Sometimes we sneak in a second episode every once in a while. Either way, that's what this is. You can find this podcast, I believe, on Amazon, Apple, Spotify. The Movie Bros is on YouTube, and I'm slowly trying to figure out how to get this on YouTube, just in case if that's your preference on how you listen to things. Yeah, I'm just trying to slowly figure this whole no rule book / like how to do this thing out. With that being said, yes, usually this podcast has, anywhere between 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 movies that I quickly give a little quick review about. However, this last week I was busy between work and personal life, trying to get out and do things with people and all that jazz. I've watched one movie and and of course this is one of those movies that Hayden and my brother, are going to be talking about for an episode of the Movie Bros, so I don't really want to talk a lot about it on here. So I'm just going to quickly brief that. That was Ocean's 11. That came out in, 2001. This is the first of, I would say, the trilogy, because there's Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. They're all heist movies with the same set of characters, same director, same actors. I know that they made a prequel, Ocean's 8, different director, different cast. Did not go over that well. I heard it was very meh. So I'll just call this the trilogy. This is, God, I will call this probably a 5 out of 5 when I talk about this with Hayden. It's fun. It's interesting. It's like a cozy watch, but it's not. I wouldn't call it cozy, but it's definitely. I don't know. It's just satisfying. I don't know the right word for it is, but all the characters, the writing, the acting, the music is very fun. If you can find that on Spotify or whatever you use for music, the Ocean's 11 soundtrack is very, very fun. And yeah, that was just a very enjoyable watch. I've seen it several times. We're going back through and watching all three for an episode of the Movie Bros. I'm watching the second one today, and I know it's not going to be as good as the first. It's never is. It's very rare that the second, I mean, Dune and Dune 2, besides that point, but yeah, I really love the first one. Uh, I did watch. I mean, I've been trying to be pretty consistent with watching one episode of. Again, I don't know why this dorky thing has attached itself to me, but one episode of the Batman the animated series, like the one from like the 90s or whatever, while I make my lunch or something every day. So I've been watching, 6, 7 episodes of that. But I don't really know if I want to call that what it is. Either way, yeah. So usually this is somewhere between 10 to 15, maybe even 20 minutes. This might be less than 10 minutes because, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about. If there's anything you think I should be watching, I know the Oscars just happened. Maybe I'll chat about that for a second or two. All right, so Kieran Culkin won Best Actor in a Supporting Role for A Real Pain. I think it was 100% deserved. If you haven't seen that movie, Hayden and I also did an episode on it for the Movie Bros. It's very dark comedy. It's two brothers going to Poland to like get closer to their dead grandma, and of course, there's lots of World War II encampment stuff that they are dealing with. And they also have their own dynamics and how they deal with death. It's very, very good. It's well written by Jesse Eisenberg. Wrote it, co-starred with Culkin, but Culkin was clearly the standout performance. Flow won Best Animated Feature Film, and I keep getting ads for it on HBO Max, and it looks really interesting. It is Latvian. I don't think it's got any dialogue in it, so I'd be curious to check that out. I am glad that it won over, although I think I'd like to watch this at some point too, is The Wild Robot, which some of it looked amazing, but the movie itself did not pique my interest really at all. So I'm glad this was something different. And it's the lowest budget film to ever win Best Animated Feature, which I think is also kind of cool. So you don't have to have this massive budget. It's really about how you use that money. What else? Costume design went to Wicked. I mean, yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't really know what else was in that category, but I'm fine with that. Best original screenplay for Anora. Anora, okay, not to like spoil it, but they won a lot of things, including Best Picture. So that is now on my watch list. I would like to see it in my work, or at least one of my jobs that is a like bougie movie theater bar restaurant thing. Is showing that now, so I will probably see if I can sneak in and watch that on my own some point. Best adapted screenplay was Conclave. I liked Conclave a lot. I think I talked about that on this podcast either last week or the week prior. I think it was last week. I think it was beautifully shot. It was just dialogue, really, just people talking. And it was interesting, but I feel like there could have been. I don't know. I feel like there could have been more to it. I don't know I don't know where that would have been. And it was like right at 2 hours, which I'm fine with. Hair styling and best makeup went to The Substance, which I think that's actually really cool that a horror movie won that. Usually it's some sci-fi or horror doesn't get a lot of recognition at the Oscars. It's just not really the category that stands out because again, it's not as popular generally. But The Substance, if you know anything, was very popular this year for a lot of people. I mean, I almost went to see it, but I heard the last like 45 minutes or so is pretty grotesque and like body horror stuff, and that's just not what interests me. I don't have any interest in seeing people's bodies getting fucked up. Either way, let's see. Best film editing was for Nora. Emilia Perez, which got nominated for a ton of shit, and everyone was pissed because the movie itself, seemingly not a lot of people liked at all. But it got like it had the most nominations equal to like Lord of the Rings, which is fucking wild. And it only won one thing, which I'm kind of okay with that. Zoe Saldana won Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Emilia Perez. I like her a lot, and I haven't seen the movie, so obviously I can't judge it. I don't know who else was in that category. I don't know if that would have been my choice, but like I'm glad that she got some recognition because I do like her a lot. She's done a lot of cool. She's been in a lot of like I think she's done a lot of smart career choices. Like she's been in Avatar, the Marvel Universe, Star Trek. Like she's done a lot of smart career choices, I would just say. So I'm glad that she's getting some recognition for at least something. Production design went to Wicked. I get it, but at the same time, I feel like uh was Dune 2 not in this category? That was one of the I mean, I feel like everyone before the Oscars was like, before the night of the Oscars, people were all talking about the, like, snubs of the Oscars, and Dune 2 is definitely up there, especially for director for Denis Villeneuve. Um, but yeah, I feel like production design, that movie was fucking awesome looking, even if it was just in a desert, like, it was still beautiful. But I do kind of get the Wicked choice. Best original song went to Emilia Perez. Oh, they did get 2 wins. I don't really honestly, I don't really care about original song, but I'm surprised Wicked did not get a song from that. Although I don't know if that's original song or if that's adapted. I don't know how that works. Documentary short, documentary feature film. What else? Best sound went to Dune Part 2, which I do get that. I again, I think that movie, and if you look at like ratings and the amount of people who watched it, like it is the most rewatched thing from that last year was Dune 2, over 5 times. Like as counts as a like most rewatched, and like more people did that than any other movie. Watched it more than 5 times, which is crazy because it's also long. It's like almost a 3-hour movie, so I'm glad it got more and more recognition. Best visual effects. Oh shit! Again, maybe I just was not paying as much attention to the Oscars as I thought I was. Granted, I wasn't watching. I was just looking at like highlight reels and stuff like that. But best visual effects went to Dune. That's fucking great. It definitely deserved it. Best live action short. Cinematography went to The Brutalist. Actually, I thought The Brutalist was gonna win more things. I know there's a couple coming up that it won like some pretty major awards, but it was. I mean, it's a monumental task of a movie where it doesn't have this crazy budget, but it's also like I think I remember the director talking about this. It took like 7 years for him to make this movie. It's, I believe, over 3 hours. They literally build a intermission into the movie. which that's just not a thing that happens anymore. I would definitely like to see it. I just don't know when and where and how that's going to happen. I'm Still Here, which again, I know that was something that was getting some buzz. I think it was nominated for Best Picture. I mean, it didn't win. Anora did win, but it won Best International Feature Film, Original Score to The Brutalist, which that's curious. I don't really remember anyone talking about the music in that movie. But again, it's definitely something that I have a lot of interest in seeing, so I will check that out soon. Adrian Brody wins Best Actor in a Leading Role for The Brutalist. I like him a lot. I think he's done a lot of interesting roles that I've liked. Yes, I know his whole big nose schnauzer joke that everyone I feel like makes at him. However, like his voice is I mean there's several people in the industry that just have what like those gravitas like deep like you want to pay attention kind of voices. Uh he's one of them. I will definitely again be checking out The Brutalist, but I've seen him in I mean when he won the original Best Actor literally like 20 years later for The Pianist. He's done the Predators. He did a lot of the Wes Anderson movies that I love. Adrian Brody has done a ton of stuff, and I'm glad he's getting again recognized after 20 years again for winning Best Actor. Best Director goes to Anora, which again, if you look at the director and like the cast and crew for Anora, it feels right that they should be winning this. If you look at his background, the director, he comes from very small, independent, like a film background. He's not a big budget. He's not a big studio. Uh, he does like the Florida Project was really really good. Yeah, just I'm glad that they won it. Mickey Madison wins Best Actress in a Leading Role for Nora, which I was kind of surprised. I'll be honest. I know that like a lot of times when if it's going to win Best Director or Best Picture, a lot of times it's also going to win at least one of the actress awards. But I feel like there's other people in this category that maybe deserved it more. I think Demi Moore for The Substance. I know that she was just like a pretty strong front runner. I'll have to look into this maybe off air about who else was involved. But I feel like I mean I'm glad they got recognition. However, I feel like especially at that age, I feel like someone else maybe deserved it more. Anora wins Best Picture, which we already kind of talked about. The director won 4 Oscars for one film. He did picture, director, editing, and one other screenplay, original screenplay, something like that. Yeah, so that was the Oscars. I would say overall, I'm positive about it. Like I feel like a lot of times award shows are so heavily skewed one way or another, or sometimes there's the like, I don't know. I feel like it's a weird thing to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you these awards, but this is also still like a business. Like, oh, it's just like it's a money making machine. But at least I don't know. At least I like that still about making art to a certain degree. It's a weird, funky subject to talk about, but at least hey, I spent 6, 7, maybe over 10 minutes talking about it because otherwise this episode was gonna be really, really short. But otherwise, yeah, that's my thoughts quickly on Ocean's 11, referencing the Batman animated series, and then my thoughts on the Oscar award winners this last weekend. That was yesterday, day before? Yeah, day before, Sunday. Otherwise, if there's any of these award winners or nominees that you think I should be watching or take another look at or anything like that, let me know. I promise next week, hopefully, we'll have at least a couple of movies or something to watch. Yeah, thanks for listening to this quick little ramble. And check out the Movie Bros and this podcast on wherever you find podcasts or Instagram at Dunk's Movie Corner Pod or at the movie_bros, YouTube, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to find the way to listen to us, we appreciate it. And I'll catch you all next week.